In this episode of The Photo Editor, we take a new look at the iconic Harbour Bridge in Sydney, where I am photographing not directly the bridge, but a film photo I took of the bridge in the very unique format of medium format film. And so you'll get to see that combination of technologies come into play. As always, if you want to see more of this show, please tap subscribe and the bell notification so you can hear about when new episodes are released. And we'll start editing now. Thank you for watching. Okay, so in this episode I'm going to be editing a picture I took of a roll of medium format film. Now, for those that don't know, medium format is, or 120mm roll as it's also known, is a very large format of film that was the mainstream until about the 1930s, when the smaller roll canister film that you're more familiar with nowadays came about. And one of the perks of medium format is just how large the picture actually is. So not only is it easier to look at in close detail just from the negative itself, but also it allows for a much clearer definition on the finished print. One photographer of old who was known for using that sort of work was film was Vivian Mayer, who was a French-American photographer, and she spent several decades sort of almost undercover as a photographer because her profession was a nanny, but this hobby of hers led to having a storage room full of film that wasn't even looked at until after she died, so that's quite an interesting story. But getting on to our edit now, this roll of film was one of a few I took when I visited Sydney with my fiancée a couple of years ago for a wedding, and so you can see some of the touristy spots around the Harbour Bridge. So we have a couple of shots here at the Harbour Bridge, and the Opera House, and so this is an opportunity to edit a type of picture within a picture, because the medium format images are so large that we can use them as a subject in themselves. So, as usual, we'll go into Silver Efex Pro. It will be a bit of an interesting challenge when I'm editing the pictures on the negative, because although our eyes can distinguish a lot of the detail within the frame, as far as editing goes, it's effectively a flat layer, smooth layer of plastic. So how the brush responds is going to be interesting. Now, the film was mostly red, so I'm going to guess that the red filter will... that really makes it pop out. It's almost like I'm being on a white flatbed. And then... Okay, so we'll definitely stick with the red. It really makes it bright. Sort of flatbed effect. Ooh, that Alpha Delta 100, it really makes it pop on the film itself. The whites are really white, the high contrast. So even if the background's a bit washed out, I can probably darken that separately, but I like the high contrast on the negative. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. Something seems to have excited him. Okay, so I think we will up the clarity on the film negative itself to begin with. Yeah. Yeah, so as I draw back and forth, you can see the difference that the clarity brush makes. Now, I actually think I'm going to remove this brush, and I might do only a brush on the bridge here, because that's the most distinguishable detail, and sort of it's not as effective when I put clarity against the whole length of the film. Now, I'm going to guess that height and texture probably won't work on this because it's a smooth layer of plastic. Actually, that's not too bad. You can see in the lower here where it's the sea, you can actually see a bit of the waves start to form when I really up the texture. Now, I might add just a little bit of extra texture on either side, not too much, but just so that it kind of blends in with the changes I've just made in that one frame of the bridge. Now you can sort of see up here the extra bit of plastic covering. That is, you can see some of the little scratch marks on it, and I'm going to try to avoid editing too much because I don't want to make the scratches on the plastic too obvious. Now, unfortunately, along the edge here, I don't know if it was a bit of chemical seepage during development, but there's just a little bit of black dotting on that I'm going to try and reduce the obviousness of. So probably down the contrast. And reduce black. It disturbs the image too much to try and get rid of it completely, but at least I can reduce its obviousness. Alright, now I'm actually starting to like more the sort of brightened background, almost like a hospital white sheen. The timber here, you will remember, was a type of artificial grain, and so I'm going to add some texture and clarity to just to add an extra element to contrast with the sort of plasticky smoothness of the film. And then, as it's almost completely dark here anyway, I'm going to try and completely black out this section so it forms a real silhouette. So I'm going to do that to begin with. So I'll just take the exposure right down. Not have too big a brush. And then, yeah, so just that completely wipes out that little line that was there. So now our eyes are really drawn towards the main focal point of the film. so we don't have any distractions here. It's this black vacant space, and we have the angle of the table guiding towards the film, and the angling of the film frame is then directed more towards our own line of sight. So now we'll add some clarity. Just comes out just a little more grain. And just kind of a quarter extra texture. Too much and it just looks too speckly. Okay, now because we've created the black void here as well, that also means we have a space where I can readily put my signature, and so that's a nice bonus. Now, I'm starting to notice this splodgy corner here of a shadow where I've added the clarity, so I'm thinking that might be a bit too much, so I might reverse it in this spot here where I am holding the brush. Yeah, so now the shadow's not quite as where you had that sort of crossing of the angles of the wall. It's not too much of a domination to the grain of the wood as it tapers towards us. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this picture now. We have the iconic Harbour Bridge presented in a slightly new way, and using a very nice type of film. And I enjoy going around with the Harbour Bridge with my 1930s/40s Zeiss folding camera, and it was fun to hear the click on that and see it get some good exercise, and that it could produce some pretty nice images. So thank you for watching. If you want to see more content, please hit subscribe, tap the bell button, and also hit the thumbs up so you can help other people see this show as well. And we'll talk to you next time.